Hello, and welcome to another edition of Whitmer Art. My name is Kirk, and today we're going to be talking about digital painting. And this particular video is designed for those who don't know much about digital painting but would like to know more. So if you find it interesting, I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you learned. Now, what you're looking at is an image of digital art that was created using only an Apple iPad Pro, an Apple Pencil, and an image editing software product called Procreate. And of course, some imagination. Probably a lot of imagination. When you open Procreate, the user interface will look like this. You can see there are icon controllers across the top of the screen, and on the right side, some additional controllers with two slider bars and forward and backward arrows. Starting at the top left corner, a tap on the word Gallery will give you access to past projects and works in progress that you've stored in your iPad, and you'll be able to review or even continue working on them at a later date. The next group of 4 icons will give you access to special features that allow you to access informational data on your work, preserve that work, and share it with others, as well as tools that let you select segments of your work, resize, distort, or reshape, recolor, and the list goes on, but I won't go into those things here. It could very quickly become overwhelming. Over at the top right, the 4 icons there are your tools: a brush for applying colors, a hand for blending and smudging, and of course the all-important eraser. Each of them have a wide variety of tools and media, and each of those have many settings that control factors such as size and style and intensity and more. When used in combinations of tools and various settings, the possibilities will seem endless. Just as an artist in front of an easel with many brushes to choose from, as a digital artist, you'll need to be familiar with what kind of marks can be made with each brush and know when to use which one. But the biggest advantage for digital artists is being able to work in layers. An artist painting in front of an easel only has one canvas to put paint on to make an image. Imagine the freedom that a digital artist has when each element of a painting can be painted on separate transparent windows, and then each element can be moved, resized, tinted, lightened or darkened, made more or less opaque, and each of these actions can be made on each layer independently of the others. The image in this video has 15 layers, and if you watch closely, you'll be able to see them popping in and out, and you'll get the idea. From watching the beginning of this video, you already know how this will wind up, but now let's see how we get there. Procreate opens every new project with 2 layers, a background layer, which I've put a blue color into, and a second layer, which I've labeled Sky, and used an airbrush tool to put some color in that sky. Followed that with a layer for the clouds, and then another layer for the near mountain, and yet another layer for the far mountains. And you can see we're already up to about 5 or 6 layers, and we just continue to keep adding them as we need them. The layer you see with the yellow, orange, and green was an attempt to put some color into this image, but it didn't work out, and eventually you'll see that layer disappear entirely. While we're talking about layers, I just want to mention that it depends on what type of equipment that you're using. But with an iPad Pro and Procreate, Procreate will allow you to have up to 91 different layers. And it can get a little confusing because every time you add a layer, it's simply called layer 12, layer 13, layer 14, etc. But fortunately for the digital artist, Procreate does allow you to put a meaningful title on each layer, such as sky, clouds, mountains, etc. So that's a very helpful feature in Procreate. I think at this point we're probably up to about 7 or 8 layers, and you may have noticed that I've been bouncing back and forth between the sky and the mountains and coming lower on the foreground there. And to change layers is a very simple procedure. You can't see the icons right now because this is a recorded video of what's actually happening on the screen. But on the user interface at the very top, right corner, you might remember that there's an icon for layers, and if you tap on that icon, it drops down a list of layers, and then you just tap on the layer you want to select it and close the list, and you're back to moving from one layer to the next. And you may have noticed that I added another layer and then selected an airbrush tool to put some fog back there in the valley. And I'll be continuing to add even more layers as I begin to work on the foreground. You'll notice that the details are getting smaller and smaller, and you'll notice that also that when I start putting in grasses and weeds and other things, that I've switched my tool selection from a brush style of tool to something that's more like a pencil, so that I can get finer and finer details. You can also see that I've been changing colors frequently, and Procreate makes that very easy. There is a one-touch space on the user interface that allows you to open up a color wheel, and then you can select from more than 1 million colors, anything from black to white and anything in the red, green, blue group. Mix and match, and there's lots of colors to choose from, and it's very easy to pick any one of them. While you're watching me paint, let me remind you once again, please leave a comment down below if you found this video to be helpful, or if you'd like to see more of them. I would love to hear from you to find out what you learned about digital artwork, or even if you just have a question about something you saw in today's video, pop that into a comment also, and I'll try to get back to you. And while you're down below, please remember to click on the subscribe button and also the bell so that you can get notifications when new videos are posted in the future. As I was working, I kept looking at that space in the mountain there right above the tree on the left and thought, boy, wouldn't it be more interesting if it had a waterfall? So we added another layer and I painted in a waterfall. I'll quickly flip through all the layers for you so you can see how many there really were. And for all of those of you who didn't really understand what digital art was all about, I hope this helped you, and thanks for watching.